Hi there. So this is Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and today I have a New Year's card for you. Um, I don't know if you're like me, but I send out my Christmas cards pretty late, and there's some friends and family, well, not family, just friends out there that would never get my Christmas card on time. So I like to send them a New Year's card, and I have seen these donkeys on New Year's card, and I wanted to create one myself, so this is what I came up with. But really, this is my first go at the Christmas card. This is what is called a Polaroid card. And so I wanted to make a Polaroid card using this donkey for a New Year's card. And well, and not only the people that are far away, but do you ever get those Christmas cards in the mail at the very end and you think, yikes, I did not send them a card? I always send them a New Year's card too. So I'm going to make a bunch of these for those people far away and for people that didn't get my Christmas card and a little cute New Year's card. But after I fixed it up and changed it a little bit, I came up with this card, which I like a little bit better. And it has tons of tricks and tips in there that I want to share with you. So like I said, this is what they call a Polaroid card, and it's just because of how it's cut out here. But we're going to start with these little numbers right here. And I'm going to use, this is part of the, what's this designer series call it? Playing with Patterns, designer series paper. And I'm going to use this piece here. And this is why I decided to use the Calypso Coral as my front of my card, just because it matched my designer series paper. And then on the back of it, I want to use the adhesive sheets. Now on mine, I just used Tombow liquid glue on my little numbers, and it drove me nuts because I couldn't get any, I had glue everywhere. So I decided I want to use the adhesive sheets on the back. Oh, look, this piece is pretty good. So our adhesive sheets are 6 by 12, and let me show you how great they are. I'm going to put this in there. I've cut this piece down a little bit. So if you notice, our adhesive sheets are like cut up into 2-inch sections, and then they have a break in the release paper so you can see it like that. But it's much easier to work with than rather one big sheet. So I'm going to take my designer series paper here, and you know what else I want? I'm going to use my Stamparatus here. I'm going to get rid of my magnet. I don't need that, and I don't need my grid paper. I just need the plate. But watch this. So I'm going to put my designer series paper up here in the corner like that, just to hold it into place. And then I'm going to take off, and I did it the wrong way. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Here, I want to take off this. I'm going to take off this piece here. This is the adhesive sheet, and I'm going to just set it up there in this corner. Now, because it's in the Stamparatus, I can put this up in the corner too and lay it down, and then it gets it positioned just where I need it. And then I'm going to do it with this piece, yikes, and lay it there and get it just where I need it there. And then the last piece here, take this one off and lay this one right there. And that way you kind of get them straight and toward the edge. Now this edge isn't covered, but that's okay. These are straight, and my designer series paper has all of that adhesive sheet on the back. And then let me just varnish it a little bit, make sure it's stuck on there nice and good. Oh, I lost my trash can too. Okay. Then I'm going to take my die cut machine here. Use plate number 1. This is the mini cut and emboss machine. It'll be available January 5th. But it's nice because it's itty bitty, doesn't take up a lot of room. I'm going to set this aside for just a second while I tell you about my... Okay, so here's my confession time. These are my number dies that I'm going to use. And I have a 2 here, a 0, a 1. Whoop, no, this is an exclamation point, and a 1. Now, my dies I've had for years. These are the same, dies. Like I said, I've had these for years. I bought them, in fact, a long time ago to use on all my kids' school projects and stuff, and now my kids are in college. But Stampin' Up! Has brought them back, and they're right here in our large catalog. Let me see if I can find. Here we go. In our catalog, the little dies. There we go. Stampin' Up! Has brought them back. And now they brought them back with the letters and the numbers all together. And the nice thing about this set is they have multiples of the letters that you use all the time. And so I just think they're worth it. I'm glad I never got rid of mine, but you can also pick them up now. So if you don't have them, now's a second chance they give you to pick them up. Oh, and here's the letters. See, I bought mine in separate packs. They sold them separately, but then I store them together because I use them all the time. But anyway, there you go. So if you want to make my card, or if you need letters, this is the Playful Alphabet is the dies that you need. And I do love mine and use them all the time, and have for years, like I said, again and again. Okay, but I've got them laid on my little plate here, and I'm gonna just run them through. I'll have to run it through twice because I have that adhesive back. I don't think I can run 2 layers of cardstock through on my mini machine. Now, if I didn't have the adhesive layer on the back, I could just double my paper up and run it through one time and cut out both numbers at the same time, because we need another 2. Let me get this 2 out of there real quick, and let me cut another 2. That's another thing I love about this die cut machine. See how it has room here? So my plates aren't perfectly lined up. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't hurt anything because they give you room on the platform here. A little bit of what I call wiggle room. And it sure does help when you're cutting stuff out if your plates aren't perfect or everything's not lined up great. You just have a little bit of wiggle room with Stampin' Up's new die cut machine. Okay, lottie-dottie, lots of cheddar chatter. Let's get... I just threw my dice clean across the room. That was pretty graceful. Okay, we'll just pretend like I put my dies away, and I'm gonna just set them up here. I don't want to lose them. I usually stick them right back in the folder they come in, but not this time. Okay, but I have all my, and then this one I'm going to be really careful with my explanation point that I don't lose that little bottom piece of it. Just like that. Okay, so then on my card here, you see to make this label, I'm going to take this punch, which is called the, now what is this punch called? And I had it out to show you so I could tell you, but let me just look real quick the name of it. Fancy Label, Fancy, Label Me Fancy. That's what this punch is called. But I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock here, and now I have measured that this, the width of my punch is 1 1/8 inches. So I'm gonna use this piece for the first time. I'm gonna slip a piece of cardstock in my punch, and then you can take that piece of paper that's the same size, and I'm gonna take this one out, and then at the very end, I'm gonna just punch that one end from my cardstock. Because now, when we go to place our 2021, let's see how hard, this kind of worried me about how hard it is to get those stickers off. Those little, oh, nope, and look, they come right off. Just get the stickers off, those little tiny numbers. I never finished my sentence. But look, they came off. It's really simple to do, very user-friendly, the adhesive sheets are. And look, you don't get any glue where you don't want it. Let's see if the first one was just a fluke or if they're all that easy. I thought maybe use my take a pick tool would help. Well, of course, the first one. And my nails are awful right now. Christmas was not nice to my nails. Okay, here we go. Here's the next one. So 20, make sure I get my numbers in the right order for the new year. 20. And they look pretty straight. Not too bad. Almost done. Bear with me a few more minutes. Thank God here on YouTube you can fast forward the video. But the 2 came off pretty fast, 2, and then a little 1 here. Yep, that wasn't painful or awful at all to get the adhesive off of those little numbers. 21, and I think so far I might be going a little bit uphill, but not bad. Let me put the little explanation point, and then this piece might be impossible. Let's see if I just... Well, I hope you fast forwarded through this part because this is probably painful to watch. Nope, there we go. Look, I got it. And I'm going to use my little take a pick tool here to put it right down here. Maybe move it around. Yep, look, there we go. And now we have 2021 and an explanation point. Nice. So then to finish my punch now, I'm going to put that paper back through here again and then slip my paper in there, take this out, and then line it up so my paper's straight in my punch, and then punch that out so now it's centered just perfect on there. Isn't that cool? So really you could make your punch any length you want. And I wish I could remember the demonstrator's name. She's out there on YouTube. She's got 1 million followers or subscribers. But anyway, she's the one that showed me how to do that with my punch. And I wanted that explanation point on there. And I knew on my first card here, look, it would never fit with the regular way if you just punch out the tab. But then if you do the punch that way, it fits on there nicely. And your numbers are centered on your punch exactly where you want them. So thank you, fellow demonstrator. I wish I could give you credit and remember your name, but for right now it escapes me. If I think about it and I find the video, I'll put it down in the link below. Okay, let's keep going. Now I know I've rambled on a lot, but then I took a piece of Calypso Coral cardstock. Now this is 3 3/4 by 5, and then I just took one of my layering square dies and cut out that top part to make it look like a Polaroid, about that color, the size, right? This is a piece of Whisper White that is 5 1/4 by 4, so it's just a layer on your cardstock. I took this one here. What are these dies called? These dies are with the little raccoon, the special day dies, and I just cut out this little piece of grass. And now I can't even tell you how big my cardstock was. It was just a scrap that I found in my drawer, and I just cut the top off like that. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive along the bottom on the back of my paper here, and then I'm going to just kind of eyeball it where I want it. And I think it looks good. Well, I think I want a little bit more grass, so a little bit more shows. And then I'm going to just take my paper snips here and trim this off back there. So then I have just that little piece of grass like that. I'm going to save this piece because we'll need that for the inside of our card. And then with, I'm going to take this piece. Now I have a little bit of adhesive here, and that's going to kind of help me because it's going to hold it down, but I'm not going to press too firm. But I want to lay my cardstock on top of my base here and bring in some stamps. So I've been talking about the little donkeys. This is called Darling Donkey. Now this is a sneak peek of one of the Celebration stamp sets. And if you're not familiar with Celebration, Stampin' Up's biggest sale of the year is Celebration. And they used to have it once a year. Now they're going to offer it twice a year. It used to be from January through March, and now at this time it's going to be January through February. And to be honest with you, I think the next one is in July, but don't quote me on that. It could be not that time. But I know that January 5th is when Celebration starts. What Celebration is there's a catalog, and if you're one of my customers, you got one in the mail. but it has stamp sets that you can get for free. Depending on the dollar amount you spend, there's different stamps, and there's some that are bundles like stamps and paper or stamps and a emboss folder, but different things that you can get for free. And Darling Donkeys is one of if you spend $50 in the United States, you get the stamp set for free. And we're going to use this Yeehaw right here, and then a couple of little donkeys. And I've already got them mounted, but I'm going to use this little Yeehaw. No, it's Hee-Haw, not Yeehaw. And some just black Memento ink. I'm going to set this down about where I think I want it right there. Let that ink sink into the paper, hold it down. And then look, there we go. So then, so you didn't have to watch me in advance, I took the kicking donkey, I guess you call it kicking, and then I took the little seated donkey and I stamped them on some crumb cake cardstock here. And then I guess you would say I cheated, or you could say I used my resources, and I used my scan and cut, and I cut out a bunch of little donkeys. Now, again, on my first card, which now has left me, I have no idea where it is. Here it is. I stamped and colored him with the blends. Now, if you know me, coloring is not my forte. It's not what I'm good at all. So I decided that's when I changed it up, and I used the die cut of the little grass instead of coloring the grass. And I decided to cut my donkeys instead of color them like this. I'll leave this card so you can see this one too. And then what I did with my little donkeys is I brought in blends. So this is the bronze blend, and I'm going to just color his little snout right here. And then the inside of his ear. I knew there was two places on this one I need to color. The inside of his ear. And then on the other donkey, this donkey, I'm going to get the inside of that ear. On both ears, this one shows both ears. And the inside of his snout. And see, coloring is not my strong point, so I try to color as little as possible. And this little donkey now doesn't take much coloring at all, but yet those colors on the crumb cake sure does bring it to life. Now this Memento is the light basic black, and I like the light basic black because it doesn't black it out completely. You can still see the little lines and stuff that are on the stamp, and so it still gives it some character. I'll put a little bit of black here on his hoof. Get these back hoofs here. Don't forget the tail. And then this guy has a little mane right here, and then his little wonky hair up here. And there he goes. Now look how cute. Compare the donkeys before, but that little bit of Memento coloring on there sure does add a lot of character to your donkeys. So then with this donkey now, I'm going to take and put a few dimensionals on the back of him and have him ready. Oop. I think I can even fit, look, can I fit one on his hoofs? Let's see if you see it. You sure can. It even fits on his hoofs. Nice, but I'm not going to put a bunch on there. I'm going to just, I am going to go crazy. Just like that. Then with this piece, we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of it. And now I'm going to try, I tend to go kind of crazy with my dimensionals because I really don't want my frame to sag, but I'm going to try not to go hog wild with, well, that one came off, with my dimensionals. But like I said, I really don't want, try to get the square, line up with the square size, but I don't want my frame to sag. And then a couple down here. And now, I almost threw my dimensionals in the trash. Now I think I'm ready to go. Then I'm going to take this and layer this right there. Like that. And then take my little donkey. Whoop. Peel off all these little this one's not sticking. There, I should have pressed him down harder to begin with. No, maybe it's because he's on the Memento, but there, now the cover came off. That one was not cooperating at all. And I have, okay, then I'm going to just lay my little donkey like he's kicking up his heels right here on my grass. It's coming along nicely, don't you think? And then right here on the back of this with just a little bit of adhesive, I'm going to just take that fancy label and set it right here. Is it straight? There, now it is. And then last but not least, well, and we haven't even done that, so last for the front of the card, I wanted to do Yeehaw or Hee-Haw, finally 2021. I couldn't find a stamp that said finally, so I went onto the computer and I printed out a sheet of words, sorry, I forgot my punch, that said finally on there. And I'm gonna just, and I did print them on some, it's a pretty bit kind of a heavy copy paper. My printer won't take the Whisper White. Whisper White, even the thin, is too thick, it won't go through it. So like I said, I just did it on some copy paper. I punched it out with my label punch. I think that's what that punch is called. And then I'm gonna just trim the ends here to make a little rectangle around my words. And then you know what, I better bring in my silicone mat because I don't want any tape on my table here. Put him there. All thumbs. I think I only got adhesive on half of it. I'm gonna adhese the whole thing. There we go. And then just tuck this right here in that corner. And there is the front of my card, which is a little bit crooked. Maybe I'll fix that later. Maybe it'll just be fine the way it is. Okay, so then I just have a crumb cake base here. This is 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. Fold it in half here. Do I not have? Here's my bone folder. And then there's enough bunch, a little bit adhesive on the back. There, whoop, a little crooked there. There we go. Lay him on the front of my card. And there we go. Now for the inside of my card, since I have these little pieces here, first thing I'm gonna do, and I wish I had my long scissors, but I don't. We'll see if I can cut this straight, is I'm gonna just cut my grass down so it's not quite so thick. And you know, I'm gonna go another, maybe I should have brought my paper trimmer because it's really not gonna be straight, but that's what gives it character, right? Good enough. And I have another sheet. This is gonna be the inside, so it's 5 1/4 by 4. I'm gonna just take a little bit of liquid glue, and I know one of my liquid glues is clogged. I think that's the one that's clogged, so never mind. We'll just run some tape on that. I'm gonna lay it down here in the corner. And put a little bit of tape on the back. Oh, and I should have stamped first. Let's hope that I stamped nice, or stamped perfect the first time. Lay my little donkey right here on my grass. And then I thought, I don't have any New Year's saying, but then I thought a wish for everything has this: hope this new year is filled with promises of many bright tomorrows. And I thought that will work for the inside of my card. So I'm gonna just ink that up in the black Memento. Now we're gonna just cross our fingers and hope now that I've already done all the other work on the inside that I can stamp him straight. And hold it down, let that ink sink in. Nice, I'll take it. I think it's good enough. A little bit of adhesive on the back of this. And then just set that right there in the inside of my card. And there you go. So there's my New Year's card. there's all 3 of them. You'll have to let me know if you're a fan of coloring and you like to do your card this way, or if you're a fan of not coloring and you have a scan and cut. And the scan and cut I think is worth, it's a pricey little tool and it takes up a lot of room, but when you want to fussy cut a lot of little things like this, I think it's really worth it. I in fact told my husband that's what I was getting for Mother's Day a couple years ago, and that's how I got mine. But I do like it. I love this card. This Little Darling Donkeys is a cute little set. So be sure and check out the celebration come January 5th. If you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. My name is Kathy Howes. I'm in Denver, Colorado. You can go to my blog and find all the measurements and get to know me a little bit better there. And that's becreativewithkathy.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.